Let me introduce myself to you. This is who I am. No more, no less.
Sponsored by
God bless us, everyone. We were broken people living under loaded gun. Where oceans bleed into the sky. God save us, everyone. Will we burn inside the fires of a thousand suns?
Our role is to go out and make a difference, and to be a difference, and to serve in our communities, rather than saying, what can the community do for us, or how can the community come in and make our churches bigger. We want to give out.
Everyone, will we burn inside the fires of a thousand suns? For the sins of our head, the sins of our tongue, the sins of our father, the sins of our young. And when I close my eyes tonight to sin.
We should really embrace the amazing skill sets that these returning veterans have, not only for workplaces, but for our broader communities, and to begin to view that as an asset.
Freezing cold and wet, where oceans bleed into the sky.
Welcome to Seeing the Need, Finding the Solution. This is Mental Health 2013. I'm Phil McIlveen. I am your host. We're talking about Mental Health First Aid Arizona. A lot of stuff and a lot of different aspects underneath the umbrella of mental health as well. Our goal for this campaign is to be able to bring mental health first aid to all 15 counties in all of the state of Arizona, and hopefully even beyond that point as well. So during the show, you're going to see some numbers come across the bottom of your screen. You're going to see some counties come across your screen, a website as well for information purposes. If you're in those counties and you've never received the training, call the number. Tell them that you want the training there. If you're in those counties and you have access to that, or you want to be a part of the campaign, please call the phone number as well, or log on to www.stnaz.tv. That information will show on your screen as well, or you can go to aztv.com. Today we have some special guests of mine, which are actually really important to me because I started a long time ago in the behavioral health field and have firsthand knowledge of how this company works and what they do. First of all, let me introduce the CEO of PSA Behavioral Health Agency, which is Mrs. Sara Marriott.
Nice
Welcome,
to see
Sara.
you, Phil.
Tell us a little bit about PSA.
All right. PSA is a not-for-profit organization that is dedicated to innovative programming with adults and children with serious behavioral health issues. We started about 41 years ago. We were incorporated in 1971 as Presbyterian Service Agency. And at that time, the mission was to work with the elderly in South Phoenix in a drop-in center. And these were chronically mentally ill elderly folks. And the goal was primary social recreational activities. So fast forward 41 years, here we are today. Lots of programs and services. We have a variety from community housing, supported living, your traditional outpatient counseling we do. I believe we have some what I call non-traditional outpatient programming, our recovery and wellness, which really looks at exercise, nutrition, gardening, art. We have a new program called, it's a peer-driven respite program, which really gives caregivers an opportunity to have some relief from their children, their wives, their sisters, brothers, people that are suffering from a serious mental illness who they feel they cannot leave at home alone. If they need a weekend out, if they need to go to a doctor's appointment, we provide in-home services. a lot of family support services at PSA. And then probably our most popular program is our Art Awakenings program. And it's been around for about 12 years. We serve both adults and children in 13 studios, 6 counties across the state of Arizona.
Wow.
It is a therapeutic art program designed to be held in a regular art studio. We have one freestanding gallery in Bisbee, Arizona, and it's a great program. And as you can see, some of the art here today is from Art Awakenings. But overarching all those programs is really the idea and philosophy around recovery. And Charlotte Webb is our Chief Recovery Officer, and she could probably tell you a little more about that.
Awesome. And for real quick, before we go over to Charlotte, respite to the people who are planting gardens in Idaho and out here on vacation
Right.
means what?
Respite means relief, rest, taking a break.
Okay.
So the caretakers of those who have serious mental illness may need to go away for a weekend, they may need to go to a doctor's appointment, or maybe just go shopping. And oftentimes these are adults who are coming out of the hospital and their caregivers don't really feel comfortable leaving them alone.
Sure.
So we actually go in-home and we can stay with them in-home, or we can bring them into the community, and they oftentimes participate in some of our groups at PSA.
That's awesome. Welcome, Charlotte. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
What does a Chief Recovery Officer do?
Well, I think my main job is to make sure that overall the whole agency is thinking about recovery as a main goal of behavioral health, and that recovery is possible for all. And we've been working with all the programs of PSA. We have recovery support specialists in all our programs, and we have who work directly with the people to provide the support and offer hope. And the main thing is instilling this sense of hope for recovery.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter what level the person is at. It's a matter of having self-confidence and providing them with the tools that they need to get a meaningful, purposeful life.
Let's go to a real quick video that shows you a little bit about what PSA Behavioral Health Agency does over in their neck of the woods. Go ahead and check it out.
Welcome to PSA Behavioral Health Agency. All of our staff is cross-trained to be able to recognize and work with both of those diagnoses. We are a co-occurring program, so we have clients who are diagnosed with a serious mental illness as well as substance abuse issues. For the supported living program, we currently have 5 apartment complexes in the community that we use. A couple of them we sublease the units to our clients. We have one here for the supported living program and one that goes out to the community in the houses. Provide a variety of services, everything from independent living skills assistance to individual counseling.
Yes, I surrender.
PSA Behavioral Health Agency has many components to that, from being able, Sara had talked about housing alternatives, but they also go into those housing alternatives aspects and help these individuals learn how to do simple things that we take for that sometimes we take for advantage, like budgeting, learning how to shop, learning how to do laundry, learning how to cook. Let's talk a little bit about the Art Awakenings aspect. And with that, I'm going to introduce Jorge Gonzalez. Welcome, George.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
As you can see, we have a lot of art around us a little bit here. Art Awakenings, I'm going to come back to George. Art Awakenings for either Charlotte or Sara. The program, I know you serves children and adults, and mental illness can go all the way down to about 12 years old from the recent research that I talked about in reference to the onset, all the way up to adulthood. So tell us a little bit about, more in depth about Art Awakenings.
Art Awakenings was formed about 12 years ago, and its first intent was really a consumer-run business. As you probably know, a lot of our great artists of history had a serious mental illness. And so a few of us got together at PSA and we decided that we'd start a program called Art Awakenings. From that, it grew into a more psychosocial rehab program, still with the intent of doing a lot of pre-job, helping those folks who really wanted to make art their vocation, improving their art, marketing their art, and selling their art. So a big part of Art Awakenings is that as well. But there's lots of people that come to Art Awakenings that just enjoy that therapeutic environment of being able to do their artwork. So about 5 years ago, we thought if it works so well with the adult population, why wouldn't it work with children? And so we started with here in Maricopa County, also in Casa Grande, and we're now in Tucson, Douglas, and Yuma with doing youth art, and this is children 5 to 18. So we really go down and work with the young ones as well. The main difference with the children that it's more art therapy. With the adults, it's more psychosocial rehab. That's why we have 13 studios around the state of Arizona. And so, we look forward to more expansions, maybe into other populations as well.
We'll be actually, as a company, we are greatly honored to be a marketing firm for Simpatico.
Yes.
That's how we re-met. So we'll be actually going in with a lot of the community forums, but also doing other things while we're in those different counties too.
Oh, good.
There is some footage of different art that we have that might be coming across your screen here. George does a couple different things. You do music, you do poetry, you write poetry. You also are a painter, and you can hear, I believe, some of your music up on the Art Awakenings website, which the information will be on your screen during the show. How has the program impacted you, George?
It has helped me to socialize a lot. One of the best things I've gotten out of it is being able to communicate with people. I'm diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, and coming to Art Awakenings helped me branch out and speak to other artists, speak in public. We do an event called Java Jam, where you get to do like an open mic, and I get to read my poetry, which is something I don't think I would have done 10 years ago. They allow me the room to experiment with different media, and painting, writing, playing the piano. Those kinds of things are always encouraged. You never hear a negative comment at Art Awakenings. It's there to empower you and to help you feel better about yourself. I can't say enough about how much it's helped me.
And normally about this time we go to commercial break, but I'm going to go over a little bit and adjust it a little bit off the show. If you could say one thing to the person out there that has that anxiety disorder but has not made it yet to maybe a program like this, what would you tell them?
I would say be courageous, seek the help. There's hope for you, and don't be afraid to look for help. And if you work it'll work wonders for you.
What an inspiration you are, George. PSA Behavioral Health Agency with a massive array of services as well as programs for youth and adults. Information is up on your screen, azpsa.org and also artawakenings.org. Make the phone call. If you haven't had mental health first aid, call. Let them know you need it. My name is Phil McIlveen. We'll be back right after this break.
Let me introduce myself to you. This is who I am. No more, no less.
Carry Me 123, the versatile ski rack that makes hauling skis, snowboards, poles, and lumber easy. No need for a permanent rack system. Is ideal for small cars and people on the go. Perfect for family and trips, winter, fall, spring, and summer. Carry Me 123 is perfect year-round.
Let me introduce myself to you. This is who I am. No more, no less.
And we're back with Seeing the Need, Finding the Solution, Mental Health 2013, talking about the need and the accessibility for mental health first aid in Arizona, in the 15 counties, with the hope of reaching outside of that. So during the show, I'll remind you there'll be counties coming across the bottom of your screen. There'll be a phone number across your screen. There'll be website information across your screen. So if you're in those counties or in those areas of Arizona and never even heard of the class, call. If you want more information about the class, call. If you really think that it's important, knowing that early identification of mental illness, connection to resources, and support is exceptionally necessary for our communities to not only to treat our loved ones and our friends, neighbors, and family members, but also to prevent tragedies in this country. Call. Make your voice heard. That's what this show is about. Our goal is to provide instructors to the whole state of Arizona through this campaign. With that, we are mixing for-profits and nonprofits, people who want to get involved on numerous amounts of levels. And with that, I'll introduce my guest today. First of all, I want to introduce Mr. Danny Mormino. He's the Vision Vice President of Infiniti HR.
Pleasure.
Welcome, Danny. How are you?
Excellent.
And after Danny, I really enjoy, I met Dr. Sheran Mattson at a BCA as well event where I was speaking on cause marketing, as well as you. I believe it was at the same day. And Dr. Sheran Mattson is a dynamic life coach as well.
Right.
So one thing that I have the pleasure and the opportunity to do when it's my company or my show is I get to throw in the spiritual aspect of stuff, which I love to do. So first of all, I'm going to start out with Danny. Danny, tell us a little bit about Infiniti HR.
Sure. Well, Infiniti HR is a nationwide human resources firm. We specialize in small and mid-sized businesses. We try to provide the enterprise of a large organization to smaller and mid-sized groups to help empower their people, to help protect them from the liabilities that they would otherwise have on their own, and to really help empower their people to make sure that they look at their employees as their greatest assets, attract and retain the very best people, and making sure that we play a role in any type of early detection with this employee assistance programs, and helping make sure that we play a direct role in the overall mental health of the people that serve them, which are their front line, their employees.
Now, we were talking about employee assistance program, or EAPs,
Correct.
better known as. So what exactly do you provide as a company? Say, my company has 6 full-time employees, 5 part-time employees, and 3 interns, to give an example. And we want to make sure our employees are protected, and that growth aspect of our company where we're all protected as administrative staff and a company. Some of the things that we can better ourselves in reference to being more peaceful and being more organized, and what's something that you guys actually provide?
Sure. Well, let me imagine this. Without a human resources department the size and scope of an Infiniti HR, you have an employee. Let's use the prototypical restaurant with about 30 employees. You have a great employee. This was one of the best employees that this owner had. Jane Doe burned herself. Happens all the time, as you know, with anybody who owns a restaurant or is a multi-unit franchisee. Jane Doe was so upset about this burn. Obviously, that becomes a workers' compensation claim. She has to get treatment for it. But the ripple effect, without any type of HR department or any type of help, that individual then also became depressed about this burn. She didn't go to work for a month. She was concerned about how she looked, how she felt. That also became a medical issue. She also went to get insurance. She's also had to deal with her own personal struggles with it. And the employer didn't know anything about those type of issues. All that individual knew about was that Jane Doe got hurt, she had a workers' compensation claim, and now that he needs to replace Jane Doe with John Doe. obviously adding to attrition and turnover and other issues. One of the messages, and one way to answer that question, is that it's quantifiable to absolutely attract and retain quality people, but to give them an infrastructure so that we protect your assets and mitigate the overall liability from variables you can't control. You can't control that Jane Doe got burned after she got burned, but what you can control is to stop a ripple effect, how that affects your overall mental health, how to give them resources through an EAP at onset so you could detect early types of issues or early detection, and to make sure that you have an SPHR or senior professional in human resources coordinating our efforts through the carriers, through the insurance departments, through all the other groups that make up this umbrella human resources.
So you work with a number of different agencies that would fit different types of companies, elements of whatever field that they're in.
Correct.
As well.
And to protect the employee, to protect the employee's future opportunities, to make sure she doesn't fall down a particular path that could be self-destructive, and also to protect the owner from those variables that he or she can't control directly right now.
So what I'm hearing is you actually protect the person, period, no matter who the person is.
Absolutely. You know, I think, you know, it's time to put the human aspect part into human resources. And the very best, and it's true, because one of the very best ways that an HR department could help you is not to give you a fancy payroll report or to give you tools and templates and forms and all types of procedures. That's easy in many ways for us to do. The real challenge is to protect, to help indemnify at a certain level for variables you can't control. And you could either try to piecemeal this all together yourself, or you could rely upon an HR department, a local one point of contact no matter where you are in all 50 states, to help coordinate efforts, to help have early detection, and to really help empower the people that have to represent you. And that's a very big part of what we do.
I'll come back to you in a second. Dr. Sheran Mattson, welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see you
You
here
too.
and out of the office of going over everything for weeks. Dr. Sheran Mattson, a little bit, I'm going to read a little of this because I really love working with people that have really took the time to educate themselves. You are a doctor of spiritual psychology, number one. But up and above that, one of the things that I was reading about you was all the different elements of training that you had, from working with religious communities to governments to military to corporate environments. You give me some of the other areas. I believe it's also child psychology, but give me some of those other areas that you work in as well too.
Well, I've worked with children of all ages, but also prisoner reentry programs and workforce development programs, and work with the whole family to help, whatever the issues are, to be both employable and to be successful.
That is, were you on the 211 task force years ago?
No.
That prisoner reentry?
No, I worked a lot with Department of Labor grants for people to get re-prepared to re-enter.
See, you learn something new every day. I actually sit on the board for Arizona Mental Health Criminal Justice Coalition
Well, there you
as
go.
well too. One of the things that I really love about your background, or should I say your backstory, you're well-rounded. And I know we talked a lot before the show about differences in reference to normal psychology and spiritual psychology and energy and people's different views. But the reality of it is any type of mentorship and any type of coaching, in my aspect, is needed throughout life in one form or fashion or another. I'll speak for myself. Through every day of my life, I either have a physical health and I have mental health. We all have it. We can't get around it. What is your most, if you could tell one thing out to the person who has not used somebody to help them with their lives, what would it be?
I would say that it's normal to have problems. The challenge is to seek support and not to isolate oneself. And there are so many tools nowadays that are so simple. Energy psychology is opening up whole arenas of understanding the human brain, the connection between body, mind, spirit, listening to the story of the young lady. There are so many things that people can do so simply to help themselves release the pressures and stresses of life. And once they learn those tools, they have them available to them all the time.
And you work with one-on-one as well.
I do.
So you can go into businesses as
Correct.
well and maybe set some time aside and work with somebody.
Correct.
They can come to you. Have an office as
I do.
well. And you like to also do speaking type
I do.
aspects as well.
I do, and I do workshops to teach people some of these tools so that they can walk out of there and use them themselves and with their families. I just am passionate about getting the information out that moves us from the current medical model of illness and start thinking about wellness rather than illness.
Amazing. And one of your comments, and Danny, that she had put in her bio was that she likes working and nurturing developing strong staffs. And one of the things we were talking about earlier was how do we connect her expertise into the stuff that we're involved in. Also, it's kind of the same question really for both of you. Do you have a set fee? Do you have a sliding fee? How does your practice work?
Okay. I do have a set fee, but I have to be honest, because I'm so passionate about what I do, when someone comes to me and says, I can't afford your fee, what I say is, what can you afford? And I honestly work with people all the way from students who are on student loans. Obviously, they pay a lot less than an attorney who can afford a full fee. So I do that. I have a sliding scale based on need. I also, because I've chosen not to go the traditional psychology route, I do not take insurance, which is another area of concern for people. So what I say is, well, what would you have paid for insurance? And then I will work with you on that fee. But I also do workshops, and I do speaking presentations and have different fees for each of those.
Absolutely. Danny, first of all, thank you both for getting involved in the campaign. I really, really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I didn't know you even did the scope of things that you did. You know, Infiniti HR I thought was, you know, a combination of a car company and firing and hiring people. But anyways,
that a lot.
you know, you got employer type of aspects. We'll look at some slides real quick before we get out of the show. You have some labor costs and different things that people can actually talk to you about as well. You got your human resource aspect. If there's one thing you would say to the community for the business of your caliber, real quick, got about 10 seconds, that didn't get involved yet, what would it be?
Yeah, well, I don't know about 10 seconds, but I'll give you the short version. One of the reasons why I do this is a testament to my father. He was a small business owner, didn't have the resources of an Infiniti. He had to wrestle with, as a juvenile diabetic, he had to try to get insurance for his 5, 6 employees, couldn't do it on his own. By utilizing an HR company of our size and scope, not only do we provide more resources than what he can do on his own, we also help protect. We also help try to empower the people that obviously work for you. So. And
just we normally would wrap up at this time, but I'll take something out of the middle of the show, which nobody will know by the time this airs, real quick. There's to the person out there who has not yet received any help from somebody who is educated. What would you tell that person?
I would say there's so much out there that you can seek. And so recognize that it's normal to have challenges and problems. And there are easy ways without labeling to get some support and help. And I'm passionate about wanting people to be successful in life.
We have Danny Mormino, Dr. Sheran Mattson, Infiniti HR, and Mrs. Mattson, thank you.
You're welcome.
Danny, thank you.
Pleasure. Thank
More
you.
information, look on your screen. Have a beautiful Sunday, and we'll see you next week. Call the phone numbers on your screen.
I will trust in you, and I will not be afraid. When the battle is close at hand, I know you're with me to help me stand. I will trust.